Hello, Oracles. Well, today we have the CPI data getting released for January. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there. I do love you guys, and I love my TSLA fudge. And we have been getting a little bit of that fudge lately. Nothing major that we have seen. But when we start looking at the CPI data and how this is going to be affecting the entire market, that could in turn affect Tesla as well. We do have some information about shorts coming out, something we had discussed previously, and it looks like that $200 range is going to be that battleground yet again. So we will get into the CPI data and this $200 battleground in just a minute. All right, so jumping into the charts, we were down just over 1% yesterday, closing at 194.64. This morning pre-market, we are up almost 1%. So again, the CPI data is going to be getting released at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the exact same time that this video is going to get released. So you guys will see what is going on in the market at that time. And again, we've seen a bunch of revisions that have come out for 2022. We're going to get into those in just a minute. But looking at the charts themselves, we're starting to come down a little bit here. Are we going to bounce? Don't know. Again, we have this $191 level here as a level of support. Above us is 207. But we've been hearing news about this $200 battleground area. So I don't have it marked here, but typically the 200, 150, 200, those kind of levels are psychological levels. And it's a level that somebody's just like, oh, simple number in my mind. I want to go ahead and put a buy order or a sell order in at that price because it's easy. People like even numbers, people like good, clean numbers like 200. So that could be something that we see here, but we've been hearing about shorts reloading. Now, if you guys remember last week, we were discussing how this was a battleground area, and it kind of seemed like the shorts recognized that there was a lot more buying pressure coming in, so they dropped their short positions, allowed the stock to run over $200. We saw that. We ran up to 214. Now we've started our descent again. So it seems like right now the shorts are reloading and they're looking to battle at 200 and they want to keep the stock under $200 by Friday. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see who is going to win, whether it's going to be the Bears or the Bulls. But now seeing us pulling out of this overbought range seems like they were kind of anticipating that a lot of buyers were coming in and maybe these buyers have dried up. We saw that there was a lot of institutional buying going on at the end of Q4. We got down to that 101 to 110 level, and it seemed like there was a lot of buying pressure coming in, which there was. We saw BlackRock, we saw Vanguard, we saw many other funds that were coming out and purchasing large quantities of Tesla stock. So they've purchased it then. So moving up to this $200 level, if they loaded up a lot at 100, there's a chance that the institutions are not buying at this level. Right now, it's retail investors. So has retail investor money run out? And especially with the warnings about not going into margin, retail investors, if they're not going into margin, it's going to be less money coming in to buy up these positions. So has the retail money exhausted itself at this level? We will just wait and see how this plays out as the week goes on. But again, I am anticipating this pullback. I'm loving it because I can buy more for less because I do have such strong faith in the company going forward. We've got huge announcements that really aren't even in the mainstream media about massive $500 million energy projects that are going on that aren't even hitting anybody's radar right now. So these are the things that we pay attention to on the fundamental level. So if the stock price is going to, not act rationally during these times, what is going to act rationally are the fundamentals of the company. So eventually that stock price will balance itself off based upon what we have seen from the fundamentals. So if we pull down from here, we know fundamentally it should be worth more, but we can't control the stock price in the near term. So if it pulls down way below where it should be, I'm going to be a big buyer. I don't know about you guys, but I would love to buy the stock for a lot less than it is right now, just because it's like buying groceries on sale. That's when you want to buy them. You save money that way. And when it comes to an investment, that is going to lead to a much larger return on that investment. And so now we're going to look at the adjusted and revised data for the CPI for last year. So this is going to go month by month, the original data versus the revised. So going back to last year, January stays the same, February comes down, March comes down, April goes up, comes down in May, comes down in June, comes down in July, and then it starts to go up or stay even for the rest of the year. And so now that's the month over month data, and the revisions don't really go in our favor because it seems like they were off on the high end back at the beginning of the year. But when we thought that we were trending down more so at the second half of the year, it wasn't trending down as much as we thought. There were a lot of revisions that were going in the opposite direction. That in turn means that a year over year number may be harder to accomplish. So, looking at the month over month expectations for February, we are looking at a 0.5%. Now, last month we had seen a negative 0.1%, but that was revised to a 0.1%. So, whereas we saw an excited market last month because we're seeing these disinflationary pressures coming in, it wasn't as much as we thought, and now we are looking at a 0.5% month over month, which annualizes to a 6% versus the 1.2% that we saw from the revised numbers from last month. That is not disinflationary. That is moving in the wrong direction. So, is the market going to react to this today? Where do you guys think we are going to be coming in for this month over month CPI number? Do you think we're going to hit that 0.5%? Do you think we're going to be higher or lower? And then when we look at the year over year number, last month we had a forecast of 6.5% and we came in at 6.5%. And now this was revised down to 6.4% with a forecast now of 6.2%. So my personal opinion on this is I hope we come in at 5.9% to 6.1%. That is going to show a nice improvement over last year. However, with all of these revisions that are going on, we might end up coming in with a 6.3 to 6.4%. If that is the case, people may be more concerned about the fact that inflation is not coming down like they thought, and the Fed might have to be a little more aggressive and a little more hawkish. And now, realistically, the Fed hasn't really changed their tone at all for the last year. They've been saying these things. They've actually revised up how much they thought they were going to have to go up with interest rates over the course of last year. Right now, they're right around that 5 to 5.25% level that they think that they are going to need to get to in order to keep this inflation coming down. So they have not revised that. They are going to be having a meeting during their FOMC meeting in March to discuss this and go over their new projections to determine if it's going to stay at that 5 to 5.25 or if it's going to go up or come down. We will get that information in just over a month, but before then, we are going to get two CPI readings that are going to be coming out. Today is the first one of those two. Now, with all of these revisions, things may be a little off again. Now, again, the market has been excited about the fact that inflation has been coming down. That's part of why we saw such a massive rally for the last month. So, is this going to be that rug pull that we get where, hey, by the way, inflation isn't coming down as fast as we thought? The data was just skewed a little bit. Now that we've revised it, it's going to change the market sentiment a little bit. Again, we'll wait and see how it plays out today. We've also seen delayed reactions from some things. We got this revised data a few days ago. Not much of a reaction off of it, really. So perhaps when we get this new CPI data today, we will see more of a reaction. Again, by the time you guys watch this video, we will have that data out and we will see which way the market is going to be moving based upon that data. And now, despite whichever way Tesla and the market are going to be moving based upon CPI data or whatever reason, again, we go back to the fundamentals. And we've got Sawyer Merritt here, and this is that big deal that we were talking about. Breaking. Tesla has entered into an agreement with NR Store Incorporated for a massive 438 million estimated megapack project in Ontario. Project is 250 megawatt to 1000 megawatt hours. It's scheduled to be completed in 2025. The project will be among the largest of its kind in the world. This project, in terms of revenue, estimated, is equivalent to almost 8,000 Model Y long ranges, roughly 257 megapacks in this project. The project will help Ontario reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 4.1 million tons, or the equivalent of taking 40,000 cars off the road every year. Now, obviously, from multiple standpoints, this is huge to see. So, from the revenue standpoint, from the business standpoint, it's awesome. From the future of humanity standpoint, this is awesome. And we've seen projects like this going on down in southern Australia, and I have no doubt we are going to be seeing more projects like this going up around the world. Now, think about the fact that we have these relatively smaller areas as far as a worldwide standpoint is concerned, and is $500 million for just this one project. Think about how many of those projects Tesla can get into around the entire globe. You go into undeveloped areas of the world, maybe some third world countries that don't have an energy grid that they need to change over. They can almost basically start fresh. Their grids are not as developed as they are here in the US or many other westernized countries. So you get into these places and you can kind of get in there and just start fresh where it's going to be putting in solar and wind and these mega packs that could be life changing for these people that are in those areas. And if they can get those up and running in those places, that can really change the world in many different ways for the better for everyone. And as Elon here himself said, looking forward to Tesla Investor Day on March 1st. By this, we mean the broadest definition of investor, as in the people and life of Earth. It will be a message of good hope and positivity for the future. So now, when I first read this, my initial thought was this is going to be something that is going to go over Wall Street's head. They are not going to understand what the future implications are. But for those of us who understand who Elon is, this is his focus. His focus isn't on moving the stock price one way or the other. His focus is on doing the best for humanity in the future and making it a longer lasting, better place for everyone to live when it comes to the human race and human civilization. That is what the focus of this entire event is going to be. So, when it comes to investors, it's not like Wall Street investors. I have no doubt we are going to be hearing information about the Generation 3 platform, which they spoke about, that there is a piece that goes into when it comes to electric vehicles, moving around the world, saving the world from these greenhouse gases. However, there's a much larger component to this. Many people have already been speaking about how quickly energy is ramping. That truly is where Tesla wanted to go in the future is renewable, sustainable energy. That is going to be the focus. And because energy right now is still technically really small compared to EVs for Tesla, this could be something where the market looks at Tesla and says, well, yeah, it's so tiny. Like, if Wall Street doesn't see the actual projections of where Tesla can be going and Tesla just talks about it, they're not going to understand it and they're just going to let it go by without any sort of reaction whatsoever. This may be why we end up getting a sell the news situation when it comes to Investor Day. But those of us who can see long term will understand the implications of what is going to be going on. And it'll be very similar to what we saw with Tesla 5 to 10 years ago, where a lot of long term investors truly saw the direction the company was going, whereas Wall Street was kind of up in the air and not really certain about it because they don't look out that long term. And so, from my standpoint, I love to see what's going to happen at Investor Day for a long term investor standpoint for the long term betterment of humanity. That's what I'm looking forward to a lot. There's going to be a lot of excitement down there. Again, we will be doing a live stream on here to discuss all of that because we're going to get some amazing information. I just wonder if it's going to be the information that Wall Street wants to see or not. Either way, if it's going to be information that those of us who are long term investors enjoy and those of us who see the mission of the company, then that's all that matters. That to me is all that's going to matter because that is the direction we want to be going in the future. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I will probably end up doing a live stream tonight. Get on here. I love chatting with you guys. We'll discuss what happened with the market and the CPI data. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and we will see you in the next one.